the very first installment of the Injustice Nerds Among Us podcast. I'm Dominic Holloway, and sitting to my left
is Ian Driggs, and to my left,
my name is Jacob Peterson. Thank you for joining us.
Today's show, we're going to be recapping the entire Comic-Con panel from San Diego. We're going to be talking Justice League trailer. We're going to be talking about everything, Walking Dead, Marvel, television, you name it, we're going to cover it. If there's anything you'd like us to discuss, make sure to drop it in the comments and we'll hit up on our next video. So, to start us off, we're going to discuss our recap of the entire DC confirmed slate, which is composed of Justice League coming out this year, November 2017.
Whoa.
Then Aquaman 2018. Then Shazam, recently announced at Comic-Con for 2019, with Cyborg and Green Lantern Corps both dropping in 2020. However, the coolest part is what has not been released yet, but is currently in development. We have Suicide Squad 2 officially being announced. Woo. We have Wonder Woman 2.
Yes.
Set in 1980s. I mean, that's cool. Justice League Dark. Who doesn't love things being dark? Flashpoint, probably the biggest.
Negan Batman? Anybody? Batman. Negan Batman.
Just saying.
The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves of Planet of the Apes fame, with Ben Affleck starring as Batman, no matter what you've heard. The Batgirl film, will it be Killing Joke? Who knows? Gotham City Sirens. And lastly, we have, we're going to also discuss our Justice League impressions. So, I'll throw it down to you, Jacob.
All right.
With what we know so far, with Justice League at the end of the year, minus the trailer, but with Justice League this year, then Aquaman next year, Shazam in 2019, with what we can probably assume is going to co-star The Rock as Black Adam, and then Cyborg in 2020. We have no idea if that'll set up a live-action Teen Titans. We know that they're getting a Titans television show off the ground. I think it's going to be on TNT, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And then lastly, we have the Green Lantern Corps, and from what we've heard and from multiple news sources, we can confirm that it's not going to be just Hal Jordan, but Hal Jordan, John Stewart, and either Kyle Rayner or
Guy Gardner?
I mean,
maybe
anything's possible. So, out of what's been confirmed, out of those 5 films, Jacob, which one has? Let's just take Justice League off the table right now, because we're all hyped for that. We've all seen that.
You just want to say
from 2018 to 2020, out of those films, which one you think is
my most anticipated? I would have to say, probably Aquaman, just because of all the things that we have seen from Justice League. I mean, it's looking like Aquaman gonna steal the show.
Yeah.
Along with Flash, and honestly, I mean, Flashpoint's my second most anticipated, just for the fact, I mean, we might get.
Well, let's right now let's stick to what we know is confirmed, because as far as what's in development, those can always change. But we know that for what we have confirmed, which between Aquaman, Cyborg, Green Lantern, and Shazam, you sticking with Aquaman?
Yeah, Aquaman's definitely my number one.
Ian, what about you?
I'm gonna have to go with Aquaman too, based on just
can't go wrong with Aquaman.
Compared to the animated shows, Aquaman was always in the backseat, the last to come first. But in the DC universe, Aquaman's he's gonna step in the game.
I mean, based off the footage we've seen, he looks like he's gonna steal the show, and I think we're all in agreement on that.
Especially if you've seen the new Justice League trailer about him, just beating up the bad guys.
I think there's one clip.
When he comes through the building.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Out the floor, then he just
He just gets up like it's nothing. Like, hey, what's up? I'm here. Bring it on.
Hey, but at least what really excites me about Aquaman, more than just the fact that like people were sleeping on Aquaman. Like I remember Aquaman really was not even like on my radar in terms of like to me a really cool DC character.
Yeah, I mean,
until, funny enough, the Injustice Gods Among Us video game that was released several years back for the 360. I mean,
big hit.
Big hit, but Aquaman was really like the coolest character in that entire roster. I think.
Yeah, they kind of.
They really OP'd Aquaman, and then they made, in the comics, Aquaman's really had a resurgence. I mean, with the New 52 and everything. So, but what really excites me, because I'm such a big horror fan, James Wan of Conjuring and the Insidious franchise, and he also actually started the Saw franchise. He's had his fingers in like literally every popular. I mean, he's produced Annabelle. Like, he's produced pretty much every major like horror film that's been out there, or he's either directed it, wrote it, or produced it in some capacity. And to me, that's really exciting because he's going to be taking those elements of like, because we as a society, we don't see, we don't know we know that 75% of the earth, 70 to 70% of the earth is water, but we don't even know, that's what I'm saying, we don't even know that much of what's in the ocean. So to know that like he's going to be working with that, and he's going to take the Atlantean mythology, but also mix in with like some horror elements, kind of like what Scott Derrickson did as a horror director coming into Doctor Strange with his trippy elements and some of the scarier tones. And that's what really excites me about Aquaman.
Even modeling it after Ditko.
That was a good point. I mean, but for me, as much as I'm anticipating Aquaman, I really thought that Jason Momoa is perfectly cast as Aquaman. He looks out of every single character.
Breathes it.
I just think he's just straight up, like, without lack of a better term, he's just straight up badass. Like, they just reinvented Aquaman for a new age. He looks great. He looks like you wouldn't want to mess with him at all.
What I've been saying since they cast him, something I've been saying since they cast him in Batman vs Superman, I've been calling him Aqua Khal Drogo. He looks like his character from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but he was one of the great parts of the first couple seasons of Game of Thrones, and I think that really helped him nab the role of Aquaman. But I know enough about Aquaman. I've seen the cast. They've got, I think Dolph Lundgren is going to be playing, not his father, but he's going to be playing, I think, a villain along with Black Manta.
Who's playing Black Manta?
I can't remember the gentleman's name, but we do know it's the guy, the cop from. He's been in plenty of other projects, but most recently I saw him on Baywatch, the film with The Rock. He's actually really funny, and he's really he's almost not quite The Rock stature, but he's well built. So he's going to be a great imposing villain for Aquaman. There's no doubt about that. But in terms of what I'm most excited for, I definitely would say I'm looking forward to the Green Lantern Corps film, just because I'm a huge Lantern fan myself. I think that the prospect, they've teased this film since the Green Lantern dropped, after he went away, or after the film went away, and it was not received well by critics or audiences. Now that takes care of the rundown of what they've officially confirmed release dates. They haven't specifically detailed what months. I think they did say Aquaman is October of next year. But as far as Shazam, Cyborg, and Green Lantern, we only have years, not actual official months breakdown.
Those are yet to be announced.
But to segue, this is a perfect segue into our next topic. They're also announced a whole slew of films in the DC Extended Universe,
previously untitled,
which we discussed and we listed off. Suicide Squad 2. Say what you will about the first Suicide Squad, but I'm always down for more of that kind of flavor. Wonder Woman 2, Justice League Dark, the Flashpoint film, Batman, Batgirl, and Gotham City Sirens. So, Ian, out of those films I just listed, which one do you think is your most anticipated? And what would you say is your, the one you're most skeptical, the one you kind of have the most hesitation about?
Most anticipated will be Wonder Woman 2. I wasn't really a big fan in the DC Comics at all of Wonder Woman, but since that live action movie came out, surpassed all my expectations. So, I mean, it was a good movie all around. So, if they're making the second one, obviously they would, due to the huge success of the first one. I'm down for it. But the most skeptical would be Batgirl. I'm not. I don't know about it. I don't have enough to go on as far.
Well, what is an interesting point though to the Batgirl, which I would agree, it's probably lower on my list of my most hesitant, but they did say that it's being developed by Joss Whedon, and if anybody in the nerd community would know, Joss Whedon is the director of Avengers.
Buffy.
He's co-directing. He took over directing duties on all the reshoots for the Justice League. He's brought us great shows like Firefly and Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes.
I mean, if Joss Whedon is actually in control of this movie, then we see it, then it's going to be.
And he doesn't get Avengers 2'd and just gets a gun pointed to his head. I mean,
I think DC really, to go off that point, I think DC really learned their lesson in terms of interfering, because we saw, kind of what happened with BVS, what happened with Suicide Squad. I mean, say what you will about Suicide Squad and BVS. I mean, they had their issues.
I love both of them.
I did. Good. I thought they were. So, that's what I'm saying. I'm a huge fan of DC.
If you see critics, just go in, like my friend said, Dom, go in with the open mind. Don't let anybody sway you. Your opinion is your opinion.
That's the best thing with these comic book movies. Always, or actually just any film in general. Just jump into anything. If it looks interesting to you, don't let someone sway you. Go in, and if it's something that you enjoy or something that you're interested in, go check it out. I mean, that's why that's how we have these things. I mean, comic book movies aren't going anywhere. All three of us at the table could stop going to see comic book movies altogether, and they're still going to make them because people are going to go see them. But as far as, Batgirl's concerned, I do agree. I think it is definitely, like I said, lower on my list. But if DC has learned their lesson, I mean, look at the course correction with Wonder Woman. I mean, I went in with lowered expectations.
Directing, she blew it.
Because blew
it up.
Right.
Not blew it.
Not like blew it as it failed. No,
But for real, look at
BVS is, I love it. I mean, Batman vs Superman, two out of the Trinity.
Yeah, true. But look at the trailers.
Especially against Doomsday.
Well,
come on.
That's the thing.
Yeah, well, we can. That's for a whole different discussion. We will definitely. We're gonna definitely gonna. We'd love to do a commentary. You let us know if you'd be interested in us doing like a commentary of BVS or
Avengers
Suicide Squad,
anything really.
Yeah, so we're definitely down for it.
What's up next?
But definitely, to go off that point of what you were saying, because it was a good point, Ian, was that with the DC Films universe, post the Dark Knight trilogy, they had their misses. They had Green Lantern. Right. They had, which I actually thought Man of Steel was almost flawless in my opinion.
It was good.
My dad grew up on the Christopher Reeve era of Superman. And so did I. And we had the Superman Returns in 2006, which was okay. Brandon Routh was a good Superman. He embodied Superman very well. He looked like Superman. They got a good
with
the filming on it. The cast and the editing was good. It's just it was for Superman to be Superman, and the most Superman thing he does is catch a plane out of the sky. And I was like, But anyways, Suicide Squad and BVS suffered that issue where they didn't have a clear direction on where they wanted to go. Mm-hmm. And so I think we can all agree on they had some things that we kind of wish they would change.
They tried to, and specifically Batman vs Superman, they tried to put in, they tried to squeeze in too many plot points. That was my main thing. They could have focused just on Batman and Superman going up against each other and taking the Doomsday plot out.
And that's all about marketing, because if you remember, I think all of us would agree the marketing for BVS was actually really good. Like the trailers, like the teaser trailer they released almost a year and a half before the film.
Was the one with,
It was all narration, but even then you got hyped because we had quick shots of Ben Affleck in the bat suit. We had the new logo with the Superman symbol imposed within the bat symbol. There was so much cool imagery that we got to digest, but then they had the not the second trailer. The Comic-Con trailer was actually the second trailer, and that was the best trailer they put out. But the third trailer, that's where they completely,
that's where they messed up just a little bit.
They spoiled a lot of the movie, which they could have gone without doing.
But
I mean, listen, you listen. They could have just put a poster out that said Batman and Superman in this movie, and you could have had just the two of them looking at each other. And that movie would have made
gone.
People. It's Batman and Superman. Like, are you an idiot?
Two of the three most recognizable heroes in the world.
It's Justice League.
I mean, DC does have that running for themselves. Is they have some of the most iconic superheroes, and I'm like, you didn't have to. You could have put out that one Comic-Con trailer, and you could have dropped little nuggets along the way, and people would have gone to see that movie. But they kept putting out too much information. They were basically putting the cart before the horse, and they were giving the audience too much. And so I think DC has really learned from that with Wonder Woman, because I thought Wonder Woman was probably the best.
And
that was the best.
And they changed the tone.
Well, they brightened the color. They brightened the colors. Yep.
They brought a little humor into
they made it. They made it more, I guess,
not lighthearted, but they definitely.
They balanced it out between.
Yeah, I mean, they had a good balance between. It wasn't so gloom and doom of like Batman, and then they made Superman. They were like, oh my God, Superman's moody and whatever. But I mean, I think that not with Justice League, Wonder Woman was really where they started to course correct in a really good direction.
Right.
And I think Justice League, I mean, again, we're just going off of the footage we've seen, but the Justice League film looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And
it looks very. I mean,
looks very action.
Looks very. It kind of reminds me of the first Avengers.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's the first time we're going to see the DC heroes in live action come together.
But the thing is, when Avengers 1 came out, and I remember this when I first saw it when I first saw it, it's still one of, if not my favorite, my number one comic book movie. Because of the things that they did.
I would have to agree. It's definitely up there. I mean, I would say, at least for me, it would definitely be in that upper echelon, because for me, one of my favorite Marvel movies is The Avengers, because I don't think anything can beat the excitement of like that little post-credit scene at the end of Cap. The first Avenger, where we got to. We had no idea that they were.
Teaser trailer. It was a teaser trailer.
I was one of those schmucks who sat through the end of the credits for Iron Man 1 by mistake, because I think I was texting on my phone, or I was doing something, or I think I was actually sitting talking to my dad, who I went to go see it with, my mom and dad. And then the credits were, the end credit scene comes up, and we get a Nick Fury tease, and then they talk about the Avengers Initiative, and I'm like,
what?
Whoa, mind blown. I'm like, yeah. So
Look at God.
But I know, right? I was like, there is one.
Look at me.
Boy! But, so I definitely agree. I think Avengers is probably... it's definitely up there in terms.
Let's get back.
Let's segue. So I think so. We got your most anticipated. We got your most. Yeah, your most anticipated was Wonder Woman 2. You said.
Yes.
But then, and your most skeptical is Batgirl.
Yes.
Slide on over to you.
I said this earlier before you cut me off. It's definitely Flashpoint. It's got to be Flashpoint. You have potentially. Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Batman, and Lauren Cohan as Joker, if they decide to do that. And
it'd be a fool not to.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff in that comic that they could utilize.
Well, definitely. I mean, we all know it's a film. They're gonna obviously have to cut certain things out, cherry pick what they want and don't want out of there. I mean, I think I'd agree with you. I think they'd be a fool not to focus. I mean, their biggest character by far is Batman in the DC universe. I mean, Wonder Woman really kind of blew people out of the water, so I think Wonder Woman is really gonna stick
Up
out
there?
now. So
Yeah.
I think
Right.
so. But Wonder Woman's not gonna be in the Flashpoint movie. If she is, it'll be like a cameo. But their smart move would be to focus on, because Flashpoint will probably be a one-off. Like, it's not gonna, the Flash movie sequel is not gonna be Flashpoint 2.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna fix whatever it is that's going on. So I mean, that you need to focus on the cool parts of Flashpoint, which definitely would be the death of Bruce Wayne and
the consequences of what that turns Thomas and Martha into.
right, which is
Right.
Batman and the
And
Joker,
Joker,
respectively.
yeah.
So, and then you're most skeptical, you're most hesitant. on the
I'm
list.
gonna copy Ian here and say Batgirl, because I mean there is one story that they could do, but the thing is, are they willing to slap that R rating on there and go down that road?
Yeah, because it's that comic's a little on the dark side,
Yeah.
and I think for advertising, you're advertising a young, probably you're gonna get a young teenaged or young adult
Early
actress,
20s.
yeah, to play Batgirl, and then you want her to basically, spoilers for the Killing Joke comic, but you're basically gonna put a storyline where you have Batgirl basically, humiliated and like raped, for lack of a better word,
Yeah,
by the Joker,
by the Joker.
and paralyzed. I mean, these are all really touchy
But
subjects. But in the comics,
the whole reason I say that is because I think Batgirl is more known as Oracle
Right.
than actually being Batgirl.
in recent,
in recent memory.
I mean, obviously, I'd rather see a Batgirl as Batgirl.
Yeah.
I do want to see the Bat. I mean, we do know that I think Jeff Johns at the DC panel did announce or did confirm, and to some degree, that we're going to see the Bat family grow. And I'm like, that's probably the coolest, bit of like news in terms of like
Oh,
the
yes.
fact that we could get
Especially with the
Nightwing
Nightwing
and Red
movie.
Hood and Batgirl, possibly Batwoman. So, but I think we kind of all in agreement here. I think the Batgirl film is probably our least, but
I have to say, between my most anticipated and skeptical, about halfway through, it'll be the Gotham City Sirens. I like that.
Yeah, I mean,
like
it's
that
just
combo.
to echo off of what Ian is saying. That's about in the middle with me, and also, I mean, who are they going to cast?
I mean, as
I
long
mean,
as
they could get Margaret as Harley again.
of course they're
of
going
course
to
they're bringing her back,
they're going to
but-
keep Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I
Yeah.
mean, they'd be fools not to. She's probably one of the standouts of Suicide Squad besides if you wonder why we're laughing, we overheard
Jacob's dad.
yeah,
Yeah.
he confirmed basically what we're all feeling is that Margot Robbie was definitely one of the best parts of Suicide Squad. Excuse us, all three of us.
Segue.
Anyway.
Let's jump
back
on
on
that
track.
segue and
Yeah.
segue to the next part.
So,
Marvel.
but anyways,
Marvel, exactly.
Well, no,
Let's
because
get
I
to
haven't.
Charlie
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're not Marvel yet. We're gonna stick to. I still haven't run down on my points, but I think honestly, I would like something different. I mean, that's kind of to go to basically because they were trying to segue into Marvel. I want to throw a point out at Marvel as saying that one thing I think Marvel's doing really well is they're starting to throw in more diversity, not just in their casting, but which I think both DC and Marvel have kind of lacked in terms of like you basically have, because people complain Mandarin and Iron Man 3 was whitewashed. People were like, oh, Scarlett Johansson's too pretty as Black Widow, and then people were complaining that, Nick Fury at first they were like, why isn't he white? And I'm like, technically I think it was in the early 2000s they actually went to Sam Jackson. Justice League Dark and, Flashpoint. I definitely say Flashpoint only. I'll say this. Flashpoint would probably be my number one anticipated if they actually decide to go the route of focusing the story on Barry Allen's relationship with Thomas and Martha Wayne, aka Earth 2 Batman and
Earth 2 Joker.
And Joker. So picking up where we left off on the films in development on DC, you already basically heard the panels most anticipated, are most hesitant. I think that, there's nothing really to be, honestly, that's looking like that really any of us have that much skepticism over, because DC has actually planned out some really interesting films.
No, yeah.
It just depends on
who's in charge of them and how much DC does
and what routes they want to go.
Right.
If DC stays on the track they're staying on right now, if they follow in Wonder Woman's success, then I think they're gonna do really well, and I'm really happy for DC. But that segues into our next topic, which I think is probably one of the biggest things to drop from Comic-Con, which was that Amazeballs Justice League trailer. That was so good.
You mind if I start this one off?
Yeah, please go ahead. Tell everybody like what you thought, what your impressions were.
Phenomenal. It was good. I mean, from Alfred being the comic relief in the movie. I mean, he had some of the best lines in the movie.
Like him and Flash probably will be.
Yeah, him, Flash. I mean, Aquaman. He looked kind of scared. He looked scared a little bit when you said he was gonna die. We were all gonna die. He said he's a little scared, but I mean, I think keep it up. I see you, DC. I see you. Keep it up. Let's see what what they got.
And I mean, yeah, I think we're all blown away by that trailer. I mean, Ian, what is probably, like, give us some rundown. Like, what did you think? What was some of your initial impressions of the trailer? What's it like? How does it make you feel about the DC slate going forward?
Well, back to what y'all two are saying. If they follow Wonder Woman's success, it'll be sensational. It'll exceed. The trailer I thought was awesome.
It was pretty good. They brought their game on that trailer.
It was great.
I mean, even the Batman part where he jumped off the cliff and.
Honestly, I'd be okay with. And I don't know if I'm speaking for everybody here, but I don't want them to pull. Like, personally, Superman's involvement in the movie, don't show an inkling of him. If he's in the movie.
Well, that's the thing. We know. You can't have a Justice League movie without Superman. I know, that'd be the most criminal thing.
I'm just saying, for me, don't show him. If you really want people to see how, spoiler warning, for those who don't know.
If you've been living under a rock and haven't seen Batman v Superman, Dawn of
Superman
Justice,
dies.
Yeah, we won't go into the specifics of how he dies, but basically we're in a DC universe without Superman
at the moment.
And from the third trailer of Batman v Superman,
we knew exactly what was going to happen.
They laid the groundwork basically of what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I do say that now that in hindsight, I'd say the way they handled it and the reason using Superman's death to form the Justice League
was actually a pretty good idea.
It's actually a really cool idea.
Yeah.
It's just in BVS. It just kind of
because what Lex Luthor said to Batman, he's coming. I mean, we didn't know who he was talking about at the time. Everyone thought it was Darkseid, but
yes.
I mean,
it could be taken both ways. He could be referring to any number. He could be referring to Steppenwolf, Darkseid,
and the thing is, I mean, think about it. You take the most powerful metahuman off the board. I mean, you've got Wonder Woman, you've got Aquaman, you've got Flash, you've got Batman,
Cyborg,
and you have Cyborg. If I was Steppenwolf, I'd be like, I can. Oh, and also there's no lanterns. get out of here. I can take these guys down.
Well, we saw from the trailer that Themyscira is actually going to be involved, and that's where Steppenwolf is going to. Based off the trailers, we don't know if this is the case in the movie or if he just happens to show up there, but it looks like he's going to drop in at some point in Themyscira, and clearly you see him like just lay waste. He basically pulls a Ronan the Accuser from Guardians of the Galaxy, slams his axe down on the ground, and he just wastes like whatever's in front of him.
I don't think that's Themyscira.
No. I'm not saying that footage was Themyscira, but I'm saying like if he let's just connect the dots here. If he lands in Themyscira, surrounded by a bunch of Amazonians, all he's got to do is throw that axe.
I think the Amazonians are gonna bite in this movie because of what you just said. Think about it. He lands smack down in the middle of Themyscira,
in the capital.
Yeah, in the capital, and
the Queen is there. Hippolyta, everybody.
He's gonna finished. Sorry.
They're
dead.
They're either gonna die or he's gonna kill a lot of Amazonians and probably a lot of. I mean, we see in the trailer. I mean, there's so much nuggets of information to chew on because you see in the trailer him throw his axe at Aquaman
and
underwater.
He dodges it.
So clearly, I mean that's the big thing to pull from. But if you read into it, you can basically assume that he's making the rounds. He's visiting Earth. He's visiting Themyscira. He's visiting Atlantis, which technically would be on Earth. Well, they're technically all on Earth.
They're all on Earth, but different.
He's visiting basically every race, every
section.
He's visiting everybody, and so he's making the rounds. He's collecting the mother boxes. He's kicking butt and taking names.
And I like how in both Marvel and DC, their big movies, there's huge MacGuffins from. And as comic guys, we all know like what's about to happen because we're all, can I say it, sweaty nerds.
Yes.
We're all sweaty.
Sweaty.
If you get nerdy, you just know.
I remember when the mother box, when we went to go see Batman vs Superman, and we first saw the mother boxes. That
was a really cool kind of like little nugget of like. Just a little tease, because for most people, like when you saw it in the movie in BVS, they didn't really go in depth on explaining what they were, but you knew, like all the hardcore comic book fans knew that was a mother box. They used a mother box to create, Cyborg, and that they have, and they teased that there was a mother box in Atlantis, and then there was a mother box on Themyscira, and we see that basically in the trailers about the one at Themyscira, and clearly. We know that Steppenwolf is after the mother boxes because maybe that's what he needs to open up a portal for Darkseid to come through because
or rather a boom tube.
I have a theory that he's collecting the mother boxes to open up a bridge because we see in the first trailer, not the Comic-Con trailer, but in the first trailer, we see Amazonians and Atlanteans fighting parademons.
Flashback.
I mean, that could be a flashback, but we've seen the red sky, and that red sky is Apocalypse, which is the homeworld of Darkseid.
The thing that I love that Wonder Woman did is explain the old gods.
It's like basically Bruce Wayne is the like all of our favorite people are like descendant from Zeus and whatnot. That's in some way. Well, they're made by Zeus.
They haven't explained the new gods yet, but they are coming.
Oh, they will. They
are coming.
I think we were all pretty much blown away. I think we can all agree on that. We were all pretty much blown away by the Justice League trailer. I think
amazing.
That was probably one of the best things to come out of Comic-Con. A lot of Marvel info dropped on Comic-Con weekend. I mean, they had their big Hall H panel. We had the Ragnarok trailer, which was phenomenal. We had the Black Panther sizzle reel that they dropped.
Yeah.
They had Captain Marvel. They had no footage yet. The film hasn't started shooting, but they've already been in pre-production. Yeah, they're in pre-production right now, and they've shown a whole bunch of cool info, which we'll get into. And then the other big thing that they teased was Infinity War, and then revealing at the very beginning of Comic-Con that we're going to be having the Black Order, which
no, that wasn't Comic-Con. That was
it was.
Comic-Con.
I mean, they dropped it. They
dropped
dropped.
Yeah.
But that was only a few days before Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like literally like I think the weekend before, or a few days before, but
It was still fresh on the brain.
it was still it's still fresh into where we can talk about it in terms of, because at Comic-Con is when they revealed the statues of the
Right.
Black Order. They had veiled that they were going to have them. Anyways, so I think we should automatically start with, I think we should save the best for last, which would be the Thor Ragnarok and Avengers trailer. So going off of some of the images we saw, specifically the biggest thing was the poster of Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys feel? I'm going to segue this over to you, Ian, first.
It's sensational. I'm pumped. I mean, just him standing on the head
spotlight.
of the Black Panther statue, looking over Wakanda.
Wakanda.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I mean, like the most advanced city
In the world.
no words.
Just so good.
No words.
Looks so good.
No
And that
words.
cast, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
But-
cast. Yes.
Marvel giving Human Torch a second chances since 2011.
Since well, yeah, since 2011, because that's when they had Captain America.
That
God,
Fantastic
like
Four.
Fox butchered Fantastic Four twice, and I'm like, yikes. But Jacob, how do you feel about the Black Panther? Like between the poster
Dude.
and the
What we've seen so far.
well, what we can talk about, since we don't really have much footage to go off of except the trailer, which we pretty much everyone's already seen that dropped a while ago. But tell us about like the poster and the Entertainment Weekly photos that were dropped at
the
D23.
poster overlooking T'Challa looking over Wakanda. Excuse my French if we have any kids watching. Badass. It was.
Yeah, it's pretty BA.
I mean, it was. Man, it was good. It just. I'm blanking on the guy's name that plays T'Challa.
Oh, Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman plays.
He's a great actor.
No, not just a great actor. He plays a great T'Challa.
So yeah, so the Black Panther, I think we can all agree that was a awesome poster and an awesome sizzle reel. From what was leaked, what we saw, Captain Marvel, I think that's our next.
Okay, break that down. Break that baby down.
Captain Marvel, for all you that don't know, that's the amazing pilot of Carol Danvers. She was in the comics. They've done a different histories because originally Captain Marvel was a man, and then
Captain Marvel. I think
Captain Marvel, and then he passes on the mantle to Carol Danvers, and she gets infused with basically Kree abilities. She gets the super strength. She gets the ability to fly. She's basically, to explain it for layman's terms, she's basically the Superman or Wonder Woman, if you want to say, of Marvel, because she's one of the most powerful.
One of the most powerful characters we're going to see, and the most powerful female character in Marvel.
Well, yeah.
So, I mean.
But basically, they've announced a lot of cool things about Captain Marvel. They showed basically probably the biggest reveal was that they're gonna introduce the Skrulls to the Marvel universe. Like they've kind of made some references without actually name dropping the Skrulls, but they've referenced the Skrull culture and their society. And so now that we're going to see them in action apparently they're going to be facing off against the Kree, and that's going to be the movie's going to be set on the backdrop of the 1990s, which I think kind of all of us are kind of stoked for, because I mean we're all 90s babies here.
90s babies.
Let's
was good.
It's like
92.
what, like 92? I think we're all like 92.
All 92,
We're all
right?
boy. So
And
then
the biggest news.
Nick Fury.
Nick Fury with
Nick McFlurry.
You got why? I wanted to do a thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But not
I'm
with
so sorry.
not just one eye, but count them 1 and 2.
2 eyes.
2 eyes.
2 eyed.
So that means we get to see what?
Young Nick Fury.
No, right, young Nick Fury.
Or
with,
Oreo McFlurry, if I
with
Yeah.
his eye. And we
Except
get
the
to
ice
learn-
cream machine is not broken in this
We
movie.
get to learn how he loses
Take
that
that,
eye.
Mickey D.
But yeah, that just the concept art they showed has been pretty spectacular. But I think that's about as much as we've got from Captain Marvel. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot they dropped. Just basically the 3 things: the Skrull are going to be in there. It's set in the 90s, and we're going to have Nick Fury as young with both eyes. So I mean, that's cool.
Okay.
Moving on.
The...
I think let's go. Since I think it's fair enough to say we should probably, even though it's the bigger movie, I'd say Avengers: Infinity War. We can talk about that next, just because we have less to go on. There's so much to divide.
Try to the footage that was shown in Comic-Con. Can you try to describe it the best you can?
Well, without giving away too much, because there's
a spoil. There's
a lot of spoil. Not so much spoilers, but you can basically connect the dots from what they shown from that footage. I'm pretty sure we're not going to see that footage that they showed at Comic-Con until after Thor Ragnarok, because there's some things they show, but we basically see how the Guardians are introduced into Infinity War, like how they kind of fit into like meeting up with Earth's Mightiest Heroes. We see how Doctor Strange plays into this movie. Listen, there's gonna be so much to cover in that Avengers stuff, but I think basically, let's see how Justice League was for DC, because it's coming out in November. Thor Ragnarok is also released in November, so that's what Marvel really pushed. We got a brand new trailer, we got a brand new poster. Both were like freaking amazeballs.
The trailer was
that poster too, because that poster was like.
Have you seen the Jeff Goldblum one? Like,
yes, it's like all Jeff Goldblum. Like, literally is the entire cast of the movie.
It's hilarious.
That is pretty good. That's like a running meme.
But
Jeff Goldblum is a living meme.
Let's break down that trailer real quick.
Yeah, that trailer.
The Hulk will carry on a full, comprehensible conversation. That shocked me.
Yeah, well,
I'm used to the war. Yeah, though.
Hulk like fire.
Yes.
Hulk like raging fire. Thor like smoldering fire.
Let's not talk about let's not talk about what's revealed at the end just yet.
It's there's so much we could.
Zip it.
No. We can listen. The trailer's out. It's been out for a couple days. You can watch it. Like,
and we're gonna talk spoilers.
You'll be okay. You'll be okay, fan. But like, don't go. You can go drink your milk at home and tucked into bedtime if you're offended by what we're talking about. But basically, the Thor Ragnarok trailer was amazing. Honestly, I really loved the Justice League trailer. Like, don't get me wrong. I think that trailer was fantastic. But honestly, that Thor Ragnarok trailer, I was hooked on this movie since the first trailer. Like when they had what was it? They were playing Led Zeppelin, but they had what was it? Oh my God, why am I drawing a blank? Because I'm such a huge Led Zeppelin fan. They had
I can't think of the name either.
I'm not even big of a Thor fan, but that second trailer I'm on board.
It's something for him.
It did something for him.
I mean, yeah, I think I have to agree to that sentiment in terms of like, I'm a huge Thor fan, but in terms of like the MCU characters that we got, he's been like, I think his films have been
very
lackluster. Probably not so much lackluster. It's more of like
they're definitely the most comedic ones. Comedic.
Not so much comedic, because I would almost put Guardians 1 and 2 and Iron Man.
Yeah, to take the subway. You remember that scene?
I definitely say the Thor. I'm just saying, like, what I think they kind of did is they saw how people really reacted.
No disrespect to the Thor.
All right, so continuing on from our last point, I think the Thor Ragnarok trailer. I mean, I was more impressed with the Thor Ragnarok trailer than the Justice League trailer.
Yeah,
the Justice League trailer was phenomenal, but that
no
Thor Ragnarok,
disrespect.
The Thor Ragnarok trailer just had, I think it brought everything. It brought a lot of laughs. It brought a lot of cool like the visuals. I think
Guardians of the Galaxy has got its hands in the.
You can feel some James Gunn influence in this movie.
Yeah, and the one point I want to make, that last bit in the trailer when we see Thor just like. He's got his powers back,
But are they his powers though?
Is it the Odin Force?
Are they his though?
Is it the Odin Force?
It could be the Odin Force.
It could be the Odin Force. I mean, but because the trailer, you got to pay attention. The trailer is edited to look like he's pulling that power out during that moment. but in reality, we see because Hela is actually with behind her is the main citadel of Asgard. It's Odin's throne room. But then when we see that shot of Thor jumping with all the lightning, he's jumping from the tower facing the Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge. So those scenes are not together. I mean, they're totally not related to one another. But I think what's really good is that this movie is taking that whole like, what is Thor without his hammer? He's still the god of thunder.
He's still the god of thunder. He's still the god of freaking thunder. Yeah.
And
the last part of the trailer, we see Hulk jumping at Fire Lord Surtur.
That right there. That's what got me.
A lot of people like I've been seeing comments online. A lot of people are saying, why aren't fans freaking out that they showed Surtur? Well, here's the thing. With Batman vs Superman, when they showed Doomsday was literally a plot device. That's all Doomsday was.
Well, now he's gone. He's like he's nowhere in the DC universe.
But I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Like, we don't know what Surtur's involvement is. Hulk and Thor could just fight him. Could just fight him and they'd be done. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, like I think Marvel is really playing their cards right in terms of figuring out like what big villains that they need to plan out, because I feel like Thanos, with the threat he is, I feel like Thanos isn't gonna outlive these two Avengers films. I feel like they're gonna kill him. He's gonna bite it, but
push up some daisies.
But what's good about Thanos is that either they can kill him off and then bring him back somehow. Like if Hela is playing not just Hela, but she's also Death, like the actual
embodiment of Death.
Lady Death.
Yeah.
Then she could technically bring him back later if they want to. But what's cool is you've got, look at how Doctor Strange introduced Dormammu. Now Thor Ragnarok is introducing Surtur.
And we've got the Skrulls coming up in...
The Skrulls, and then the Collector has been confirmed. Not the Collector, the
Grandmaster.
The Grandmaster has been confirmed as the Collector's brother. So, I mean, you've got also...
We've got so many moving
Ancients.
pieces.
As I'm saying, you've teased Ego and the Ancients, like, the Celestials. Ego, I mean, not Ego, but Ego, but... Like, remember, like how they put it in Guardians 2, lowercase g, not big G God. So, but that's, basically the gist of it. I mean, we have, there's so much good stuff coming out of Comic-Con, but that leads us into our next topic, which is the television aspects of Marvel and DC. Yes. We're going to start with Marvel since we're already kind of on that Marvel train. Let's go ahead with the Netflix version of the MCU, which is, they dropped the new Defenders trailer, and they dropped, the Netflix's Punisher tease, but that was really not much to it. So, Jacob, you start off. What did you think about? Focus more on the Defenders. How did you feel about that trailer, and how did you feel about like how close we are to seeing this like come together?
It was good. It gave me the same kind of goosebumps as the first Avengers did. Like,
for real?
Like
that big?
Just like seeing them all team up. And there was a lot of really good moments in the trailer of them fighting together, and the one comment that Jessica made to Daredevil about what'd you say? Those are nice ears.
Oh, they're horns?
They're horns.
Yeah, true.
I mean, can we talk about? I mean, we've got freaking Ripley as the bad guy.
Like, who do you think she is? Because we haven't gotten confirmation on what her character is. Like, we don't know if she's a pre-existing Marvel character, or if she's written for the universe.
I'll be honest, I don't know much about Daredevil or the Hand, to be completely honest. So,
well, we clearly know that she's working. They're working with the Hand, yeah. But they kind of teased that throughout all the Netflix shows.
Who could? I mean, I don't know. I don't know who she could be.
Well, the television side has really kind of, as of late, really focused on the supernatural. I mean, with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. bringing in Ghost Rider and
where they left off.
Yeah, and like basically they kind of teased like Morbius and basically all the dark parts of the MCU and the Defenders. I mean, they basically brought back certain characters from the dead. I mean, Elektra is coming back from season 2, completely changed. We have, Madame Gao, who's literally appeared in every single one of the Defenders or individual seasons of the specific characters. You have a lot going on. So, Ian, knowing that information, what got you excited for the Defenders?
Just seeing them, team up, see where the team up will take them, or what they're gonna go through, the challenges. See how Marvel does with the TV universe as well, with the silver screen universe. See what they obviously have it going on TV. I mean,
well, that's a big point because I think this is something that Jacob would really like to talk about for a moment. We have now confirmation that Ike Perlmutter, who was the president of
this
Marvel,
makes me so happy.
Yeah, he's the president of Marvel.
Oh, buddy.
They've been confirmed that he's actually stepped down as the president of Marvel. And Ike Perlmutter, for those of you who don't know, he's been very vocal about keeping the TV and
the movie
film separate.
Yeah.
But we've seen a lot of the really big thing is Daredevil has crossed over a lot with Spider-Man because they both are based off of New York.
That needs to happen.
And Doctor Strange because they're
and
all.
Spider-Man is, for all of you who have seen the movie, he's a street guy. He's a street level hero.
Yeah, without spoiling too much about Homecoming because that movie was phenomenal.
Amazing.
But yeah, he's basically he's still, while he's on his path to becoming an Avenger, he's still the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So he's still working on the streets and saving people in Queens. And now he's obviously going to move over into the bigger boroughs of New York, and eventually he's going to cross paths, hopefully, with Daredevil. I mean, they're both. Why not? I mean, now that Ike Perlmutter has stepped down from Marvel, why can't we have these crossovers? I mean, even if it's just short. But I think all the actors have expressed interest, but now that this has happened, they can kind of move. They can kind of move that in a more direction.
Some leeway to cross paths.
We also got a short tease. It was really more pre-Comic-Con, but I mean, it's worth mentioning that the Punisher Netflix series is actually dropping apparently sometime this year. I mean, they haven't officially confirmed.
I think it's.
But they said, I've heard rumors that it's supposed to hit November. And I mean, the fact that we're going to get, Defenders in August and then
Netflix is going to be lit.
So with those two things out of the way, I mean, we know that Punisher is working on their 3rd season. They're currently in production on their 3rd season. Daredevil. Daredevil is on production of its 3rd season. Jessica Jones is already filming its 2nd season. Luke Cage, I think they said, is about to start filming its 2nd season. And
Iron Fist is doing their second
Comic-Con. You're right, exactly. Yeah. Iron Fist has been confirmed to be starting its production on season 2, but with a twist.
They're doing costume. They've got a.
Well, they're talking about him possibly being introduced in costume,
and they've got a new showrunner.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm. That's probably the biggest thing. I don't know who they announced as the showrunner, but apparently he's supposed to be really good. So,
Netflix.
But anyways, moving on to the next side of the Marvel Universe, away from the Netflix brand, but more on ABC, we got the Inhumans, and I think we were all a little skeptical at first because when originally Inhumans was announced on the Marvel lineup, it was an actual feature film that was going to be in this phase.
Before.
It was going to be in between Avengers 3 and 4. It was going to take place, I think, post Black Panther.
Yeah.
And I think it was like right next to, I think Captain Marvel was going to hit the summer, Black Panther in the spring, and then Inhumans in the fall, and then Avengers 4 the next year. And then a bunch of stuff got shifted around. They lost, they lost kind of like track of what they wanted to do with it. Vin Diesel was confirmed. Remember for Black, or not confirmed, but he was basically in the running to be Black Bolt.
He wanted to play Black Bolt,
which would have worked because he wouldn't have had to speak.
I mean that, and I mean he would be the. I mean he could play because he could play him because he's only doing.
Groot's only a voice,
and
but
he's not playing a voice, and he wouldn't have been playing a voice. But
let's break it down. So I think we've all seen the first trailer that aired, like a month back of Inhumans.
I thought it was trash.
It wasn't.
I don't think it was good.
It was definitely. I mean, you could tell. You could tell. No, I think you guys have valid points on that. I think
they kind of rushed it a little bit. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, it wasn't rushed. It was the fact that you can tell now with Inhumans. Inhumans deserves a film style budget for what they have going on, and now you're working off an ABC, TV budget.
But the second trailer.
The Comic-Con trailer.
Yeah, the Comic-Con trailer actually really
amazing.
It
was good. It was good.
And so they've announced that the first 2 episodes, I think it was, is going to actually be like shown on IMAX screens. So I think we're all in agreement. We're going to go check those out when they hit our theater.
Yeah.
But what kind of stood out to you guys on the second or the Comic-Con trailer of Inhumans? I'm gonna start you off, Ian, since we segued. Yeah, I'm gonna segue over to you.
I'm gonna have to say Medusa.
Yeah, she looked pretty good.
It's her just with the hair, and it's somewhat freaky, but
I mean there's a reason.
Not really.
It's called Medusa. Medusa.
Well,
there's a reason. So.
Yeah, I know that reason. I mean, it doesn't have snakes, but still.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then what about you, Jacob? What would you feel?
I'm gonna echo him. I take back all the crap I said about that being a really bad cosplay wig.
Well, they had to basically give her a wig that they could work on with effects to basically.
Seeing it in action was really, really good, and honestly, I'm hoping. And the only thing we've seen of Black Bolt's powers is that little breath he did for the.
Well, remember in the second trailer, at the very end, he actually hit both the officers while he was fleeing, and he did it on his own, and he went out. But you can tell they're taking a really cool, interesting approach to the Inhumans lore, because while you guys have both picked Medusa as your breakout character,
I don't really know anything.
I'm actually gonna pick. Lockjaw. I think Lockjaw. That's where you can tell they spend.
Lockjaw's gonna be the Groot of the series.
Yeah, but I mean they picked a really good, smart decision to base basically all their budget off of, because if you can tell, Lockjaw
very well done.
Lockjaw is actually well done for TV, and his powers look good, and his size is appropriate, and I think that.
I honestly just cannot wait to see what it's gonna look like.
And Ramsey Bolton as Maximus the Mad, I think that's freaking. Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead, man.
Do you think that anytime in the show the humans are gonna be like? I know they said they won't have any nemesis or enemies, but
I'd like to see
what the humans.
Well, I think Maximus. I think they kind of established in the trailers that Maximus the Mad is going to be the antagonist in terms of what we know so far. They could be kind of pulling a red herring and basically using him as maybe the first half of the season, and then they have to overcome and do something else. But otherwise, I mean, I think they did a good choice by making the first. If they stick to it, they should make the first season be Maximus taking over and trying to overthrow Black Bolt and the other Inhumans. I mean, but yeah, I'm totally sold on Lockjaw. I think Medusa looks great, and so does Black Bolt. Now that we kind of fixed up the effects a little bit, but we really hope you enjoyed all this nuggets of information we just dropped on you. I couldn't think of a better group of people to be discussing these topics with. I mean, these are my best friends. But one thing we can confirm is that we're going to be doing a Game of Thrones recap show. We've already had the first two episodes air of season 7, and so we're going to be doing. Jacob and I are going to be doing a recap of episodes 1 and 2, and then on probably one video, and then we're going to
Do-
starting for the episode 3, we're going to actually just do individual episode breakdowns, discuss, and then we're going to upload those to our channel. Keep an eye out though for any info we drop. We're going to probably drop all of the info you need to hear about our podcast on our own individual social media
Snapchats.
channels. Yeah.
Snapchat, Instagram, so on and so forth.
But then after that, you're more than welcome to hit us up. We're going to send out all the info you'll need to look us up on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and we're going to be posting new content for you guys all the time. So
Again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more.
yeah.
Thank you.
Peace out, guys.
All right, we'll see you.